Can I help you? Well, I'll be the judge of that. What's this so-called story about? All right, I'll take a look. I don't suppose you want to tell me how you got this evidence. Well, obviously the truth is what matters most, but oftentimes the source can help substantiate the evidence. We have a reputation to uphold as a news network. I'm sure you can understand that. I figured as much. Maybe your friend here would care to comment?
My colleague has said everything you need to know, but on a personal note, I'd like to add that the corporate world is definitely not for me.
I see. Is there at least a name I can cite as my source? Why am I not surprised? As long as the evidence is adequate and verifiable, I expect it'll be aired within the hour, if not sooner. Now, if you'll excuse me, I obviously have some work to do.
David Barron is the most famous journalist in the settled systems.
While we're here, you might want to stay away from the edge of the upper platform. It's a long way down.
You don't need to worry about this.
All your hectic things. I believe you were specifically told that we did not want a body count on this assignment. Wrong. The execution matters just as much. Something you should have learned by now. All the tools at your disposal, and yet here we are. I hope you at least attempted to use the internal neuroamp. Let's not bring morality into question when you clearly had no issues taking a life. So now it's just a waiting game for SSNN to break the news. Once the story airs, we have another board meeting scheduled to decide how to handle Infinity. Go ahead, Maeve.
There's something
The
I need to talk to
SSNN
you
broadcast has started. I patch it through.
Yes, thank you.
The murders are believed to be linked to a new investigation where Drexler would have been accused of numerous violations, including murder for hire, unauthorized human trials, and corporate theft. Authorities representing the UC and the Freestar Collective have been dispatched to a consolidated mining station and the clinic. Both locations are believed to hold numerous victims. Drexler's motivation appears to be an attempt to launch a new product based off stolen information from a competitor. The details on the project itself and the competitor have yet to be confirmed. This has been David Barrett for SSNN.
Perfect. This exposure puts Infinity right where we want them. The meeting will begin momentarily, but I want you to discuss the options we have with the other members. Infinity's net worth is about to hit rock bottom. So this gives us the opportunity to win a little more public faith. Infinity is about to crumble before the eyes of the public. They employ thousands of people, and those thousands of people are now worried about their jobs. That's where we come in. First, we'll issue a public statement expressing disgust at their leadership, but sympathy for the innocent workers. That's when we offer to acquire them. Quite right. The truth is, we'll be making evaluations. We'll shed any employees who don't make the cut, slowly but surely. By incorporating Infinity, we eliminate a competitor, get their best employees and contracts, and all while boosting our public perception.
Shed any employees. Ugh, terminology like that, where you reference manipulating people's lives. Oh, it makes my skin crawl.
We've already done some initial evaluations, so I'm certain of it. Infinity has a lot of appeal being in New Atlantis. I'm sure plenty of brilliant minds are there because they prefer the location. Plus, there's always that handful of people that think they've got something to prove by not working for Ryujin. As if other corporations are really any better. I'm glad we're on the same page. Which is why I'd like you to talk to the board to convince them this is the right move. There are several who might disagree, and you have the perfect tool to help sway them. Yes, that's exactly what it's designed for. The bright side being, they'll never know. Good. You'll find most of the board members in their offices preparing. Vina is also here, waiting for the meeting to start. We'll need at least 50% of the vote to go our way. In the event of a tie, I will make the final decision. I trust you'll get it done.
I have something I need to discuss with you. Thanks for taking time to chat. I really need a friendly ear right about now. I received a message from Constellation, and it's given me a lot to think about. No, it's nothing like that. It's just a list of requests, things I would normally handle if I was there. But I'm not. I'm out here instead with you. No, it's the first time. But the fact that they're reaching out, well, it's given me a lot to think about. Exactly. But let me back up a bit so I can explain. Before I joined Constellation, I served for 8 years as the head of the Navigator Corps, until the UC decided to axe the department. If you want to help, I feel like I need to give you some background. Just bear with me. It was a branch of the United Colonies Navy, a small fleet of ships outfitted for galactic exploration. Basically, a military version of Constellation. Yeah, sure. Some more than others. You see, the top brass demanded press-worthy discoveries to justify the spending, and money was tight after the war. Shutdown was inevitable. At the end of the day, I was in charge, so the blame obviously fell on my shoulders. Seriously? The Colony War, of course. You know, that little incident that caused the death of thousands of decent men and women as they squabbled over border disputes. That war. Yeah? You once told me that you favored the journey over the destination. So I'm hoping you'll understand what I'm trying to say. I failed because I was more concerned about exploring the stars than pushing a pencil. Because of my lack of foresight, all I ended up with was a shuttered division and a bunch of excuses. That depends on your definition of significant. Discover a rare neutron star, and no one cares. But slap a picture of a kooky alien life form on SSNN, and suddenly you're a goddamn rock star. It's all about the propaganda, what gets the people excited. That's what the United Colonies was focused on at the time. That's just it, though. Did I push too hard? Did they shut us down because I wasn't quietly sitting at my desk approving meaningless memos? We'll never know. No, damn it. For once, I'm going to say what's on my mind instead of pretending that everything's okay. Call it whatever you want. My drive, my initiative, my optimism. It's been my greatest strength and my worst nightmare. It elevates me to these positions of authority, but all I want to do is explore, not sit and make sure all the accounts are balanced. Yes, exactly. If it's obvious to you, imagine how obvious it is to someone like Barrett or Mateo. Oh, they must be itching to replace me by now. God damn it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Oh, here you are trying to help me and I'm yelling at you. You have to understand. Once Aja retired, I lost the only person that gave a damn. Look, it's clear that you have feelings for me. It's just... I've never had time for this sort of thing in my life. Please, it's not you. It's me. I'm just not ready to get that close. I can't. Not now. But thank you for being there and listening. It helped. It really did.
Don't rush it. Take your time. Remember to take any opportunity to push for acquiring infinity.
I hope you're enjoying your new neuroamp. And how's my favorite patient doing? Not seeing any temporal memory flashes or losing time, I hope. What? No, of course not. They're purely theoretical. That's great. I'd say Project Dominion is ready for legitimate human trials in that case. One step closer to seeing market approval. Genevieve is going to be so excited. So, tell me what you think of the neuroamp. I'd be the next Ray DeCaris, my childhood hero and mentor. How amazing would that be? DeMarcus, eat your heart out. Don't tell him I said that. He knows I love and respect him. So the next question is, what will the fate of Infinity Ltd be? I'd like to acquire them, although it won't break my heart if we don't. Faye may have stepped over a line in her attempt to replicate my work, but she's a brilliant engineer. I'm very curious to see what else she may have been working on and dig it. That's what I'm hoping for. They may be the underdog, but that doesn't mean they don't have a brilliant mind or two. Well, this has certainly been the most interesting conversation of my day. All we can do now is look forward to the meeting, right? See you in there.
Something you need? Okay.
You operatives really will wear anything. Just the person I wanted to see. I want to get all the details locked down for this meeting, and I believe you to be one of the best sources available. Good. I prefer first-hand feedback when available. You've had the chance to encounter members of Infinity LTD throughout your assignments here. Do you think they're worth redemption? And why? Hello? What's going on in there? This is getting a little awkward. Were you going to say something? You can tell a lot by just looking at a workspace or simply observing a person in their business environment. Perhaps I mistakenly assumed that as an operative here, observation was a talent of yours. Saving the jobs of thousands is altruistic, which is not a luxury corporations have. It's a financial burden. It would be a huge undertaking on my part. Perhaps I wanted to see if I could be convinced otherwise. It's easy to say it's the right thing to do for someone in your position. But for me, Infinity LTD is a huge financial unknown. It's high risk versus mediocre reward. That is a plea more well spent on Genevieve or Alexis. I prefer to focus on the numbers and leave emotions out of my decision-making. This is true. Infinity never had the financial resources to match our salary offers. Getting what few capable employees they have at half the salary we typically pay here could have major payoffs in the long run. Next question. What is your opinion on how Masako handled the mole situation? And why do you feel it was well handled? Please note I'm not disagreeing. I just want to know the why behind your statement. Being prepared for anything is a great asset, one that Masako excels at. I appreciate the insight. I suppose I should ask if there's anything I can do for you, considering how helpful you've been. It's the next big step for Ryujin Industries. Financially, it'll keep us secure for years to come. There's no doubt it's our future. It's only dangerous to those who can't afford one. Hence the added motivation that will bolster sales. The guarantee depends on if we're willing to make the financial commitment to outfitting each employee with at least a shielding component. A cost that's not lost on me as CFO. It's possible. But with Alexis and Genevieve driving the restrictions and presentation of such a product, it's also highly unlikely. This has been rather enlightening for me. I appreciate the time.
If operation starts to bore you, let me know. You'd make a perfect lab rat for the R&D team.
Is Masako checking up on me to make sure I'm on her side? Because that's what I do. You want something in this business? You don't pull any punches. The only real question is just how persuasive she asked you to be. Well, you can let Masako know to rest easy. It just so happens that her agenda lines up with mine. We just need to grab Infinity LTD while it's got the public's full attention. I'm all about free PR, especially when it's painting us in a good light. Infinity is that sad company in distress with thousands of employees terrified of their futures right now. We are the warm embrace of security coming to rescue them. The only downsides are the unknowns. Lyndon and Alexis are gonna have a lot on their hands. Not that I'm getting off easy. Whatever they find, if it hits the public, that's gonna fall on my shoulders too. I'm sure I can squeeze enough goodwill out of this to last us at least a year. The consumer is our lifeblood, so capturing their wants and desires, of course, it's all I care about. I'm sure I wouldn't be in this position today if it wasn't. Sounds like you've got a bit of your own agenda going on. Well, let's hear it. Of course, which is why I know it requires some very delicate handling. But unlike Alexis, I believe we can get the proper restrictions and regulations in place to have a marketable product. We do it every day with weapons we arm ourselves and our ships with. The possible backlash on tech like this is not lost on me. However, the internal neuroamp will define the next era of tech, with Ryujin at the forefront. It's not an opportunity you just walk away from. Not when you word it like that, but a product that can settle disputes or help broaden someone's point of view? Then you really have something that consumers will buy into. Well, it seems your talents really do stretch beyond just being an operative. Good talk. Maybe I'll even consult you on future endeavors. This meeting sounds like it could get pretty interesting.
Did Masako send you to try and convince me to acquire Infinity Ltd? You can make light of the situation, but my stance won't change. The internal neuroamp gives us the power to crush our competitors, not take them under our wing. This is exactly why Masako's time as CEO is finished. I'll overlook your poorly educated statement, for now. Throwing your competitor a lifeline when they're about to crash and burn hardly seems wise. The corporate world will hear SSNN's story and believe Ryujin exposed Infinity because they stole from us. It sends a strong message. But acquiring Infinity could be interpreted as a safety net. Infinity tried to screw us over, yet they still survived. We need to be sending a much stronger message. If you mess with Ryujin, we'll shut you down. Period. Well, it does make Ryujin look good. And we do gain a wider customer base, which means you're oddly right about this one, Op. I guess you are worth keeping around. As long as everyone has Ryujin's best interests in mind, this should make for an interesting meeting. Maybe not for a lowly operative, but for me, personally, I think it'll be one to remember. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have a lot of preparations to make.
At least if you're here, you're not screwing up out there. Great, the bane of my department. If you need something, make it quick. You don't recall our conversation after you were hired? Any legal troubles you cause are my troubles? Steer clear of law enforcement? You've been very busy. And therefore, I've been very busy. You heard correct. I've every reason to believe that Infinity Ltd. Is the Pandora's box of corporations. I can guarantee that Infinity Ltd. Was up to more than just the current charges. The process of finding and following up on all those threads won't be easy. I refuse to be blindsided by another corporation's past, so this is going to take a lot of time and patience. All right, I could use the entertainment. Tell me why Infinity... The benefits definitely exist. It's just, are they worth the risk? I do pride myself on solid contracts. And this one would be especially challenging. Definitely a point worth considering. I don't think you're looking at the big picture. I've heard enough. Too bad it wasn't as entertaining as I'd hoped. If you only had some real talent. When it comes to convincing. Unfortunately, half my department's been poring over documentation, while the other half is writing up what legal guidance they can. Nice to know someone is. Everyone's too busy praising its completion to think about the dangers it could represent. First off, if I find out you used that device on me, I will tie you up in court on whatever charges I can conjure for the rest of your life. Second, that tech is one major human rights violation that no legal team wants to fight. I'll do whatever I can to make sure it's either severely delayed or collects dust in storage.
I couldn't agree more. It should be completely banned from the settled systems.
Because the external neuroamps are built to help the user on a personal level. They aid in reason, communication, confidence, all things that can make the difference in a person's self-image. And yes, they can be abused, but that's why there are laws regarding improper usage. Tech like this only has good applications when you have complete control over who uses it. Once that tech hits a market, open or private, that control is gone. And not only that, the tech is out there to be advanced or modified by anyone who might get their hands on it. Well, I'm both glad and surprised to hear the one person who has one say that. Masako's lucky to have you at her disposal, even if you are a continual thorn in my side. You may be the greatest asset, aside from the internal neuroamp, that Ryujin has. This exchange has been surprisingly insightful, but now I really do need to get back to my notes. So much work to do.
This meeting should prove... I assume Masako briefed you on her preferred outcome. Good on you.
Indeed. That technology shouldn't be used for such nefarious purposes, or in fact, any purposes at all.
If it were up to me, I'd have shut down Project Dominion a long time ago. I knew it was a grave security risk, and look what happened. Completely. I understand the success it can bring for the corporation, but my only concern here is security. It's not that the board majority fails to see the dangers. It's that they believe we can overcome them. That hubris could easily bring this corporation down one day. I only hope it won't be on my watch. It's not often, but yes. And I'm not the only board member that initially voted against moving forward with the research. You read my mind. Let's just hope Masako and the others see it that way. Plus, if we vote to acquire Infinity Ltd., we're about to add a significant workload onto my team. The last thing I want to do is there any more incidents this new neuro amp might cause. Well, the timing could be better, but I don't feel strongly one way or another about the acquisition. We've gone through our fair share in the past, and this one would be no different. If Masako wishes to bring Infinity into the fold, I will not stand against it. I hate to agree, but you're right. And I'm sure Masako will understand my reasoning. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some preparations to make. We'll be announcing Ularu's termination of employment at this meeting, so I need to have security ready to escort her off the premises.
All right, everyone. As you all know, we've successfully exposed Infinity Ltd's botched human trials and murder for hire through SSNN. The public is demanding their leadership, namely Lucas Drexler, face trial, and he's probably writing his resignation as we speak. Ryujin will be launching a statement, but I believe now is the perfect time to acquire Infinity Ltd.
Believe it or not, I agree. The acquisition has risks, and it's going to create a lot of work for all of us. But the overall payoff will be worth it.
That and Infinity Ltd's current situation makes them more affordable than ever.
Arguments?
After the series of security issues we've had lately, I'd be remiss if I didn't say the acquisition is a bad idea. This simply is not the time.
I think what we're all overlooking is what led us to this situation to begin with. Yes, our security was compromised. But considering Dalton was hired by Masako, the issue obviously starts at the top. In fact, I propose that Masako be removed from CEO altogether.
Ularu, this isn't a line you want to cross.
And considering you're the mole, if anyone's going to be removed from power, it's going to be you.
Hold up. Are you saying you lied to us?
Dalton, the last meeting we had, you distinctly said Imogene was the mole, and she'd been dealt with. You struck me as a quick thinker. Too bad.
Do you even have any proof to back up this outrageous claim?
Of course we do. The malicious code you hid on this slate to upload incriminating evidence against Masako onto Lucas Drexler's computer.
To put it bluntly, Ularu, you're fired. Security will hold you in your office until a proper exit interview can be done.
This isn't right. I should at least have the opportunity to resign.
And allow you to still be marketable to a competitor? I don't think so. This may be news to me, and I will be reviewing the evidence closely. But this isn't something you just get to walk away from.
Security, escort Miss Chen to her office and see that she stays put.
You'll regret this. All of you.
I believe the only regret would be trusting you to begin with.
All right, back to business. All in favor of acquiring Infinity Ltd?
Aye.
All against?
Nay.
Good. Alexis, start drawing up the necessary documentation. Anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up? Pay attention. The internal neuroamp is a key component of Ryujin Industries' success for the next 10 years, if not more. Why would we shelve it after we've finally perfected it?
Agreed. We all experienced the threat it posed to this company firsthand. The security risks would be innumerable.
Very well. All in favor of shelving Project Dominion?
Aye.
All against?
Nay.
We'll start up discussions on how to handle Project Dominion in the future. In the meantime, at least the only person to have one is our own operative. Internal neuroamp research will continue. The dangers have been noted. And don't worry, I'm certain between Alexis and Genevieve, any legal or moral issues will be taken care of by the time it goes to market. Any other matters to bring forth? None? This concludes our order of business for today.
You shouldn't have taken that from them.
Unbelievable.
Neon Security, you're under... arrest.
Smart move. Now come along with us. We'll take any contraband and stolen property, and you'll be...
Keep your nose clean. Last thing I want is to charge you for a DP, an A and B, B and E, or heaven forbid, an
So, Infinity LTD learned a lesson, Doc? You've proven yourself to be quite the asset here at Ryu. I suppose it is. Gratitude isn't something you typically hear these days in the corporate world. I truly appreciate the work you put into exposing Ularu. No operative has ever had to investigate our own to the extent that you did. I can imagine it may have been a lot of pressure, considering you were fairly new at the time.
Yes, I'm proud of you as well. Ularu needed to be brought down. If you wouldn't have stopped her, who knows what she would have done next.
My thought exactly. Imogene's instincts were right about you. Now, as promised, I have your bonus. I hope you'll find it appropriate for all you've done. And I'm promoting you to senior operative. You've more than earned it. As for the details, I think someone back on the operations floor would prefer to explain those to you.
When you have a few moments, there's something I'd like to discuss. Handling those tricky decisions regarding Ryujin must have been difficult. In fact, I'm amazed you were able to deal with them at all. Those types of corporations remind me why I never ventured into business. I can't stand that way of life. The moral ambiguity, the deceit, the avarice. Mega corporations seem to exude a complete disregard for common human decency. No, I suppose they aren't. But that's beside the point I'm trying to make. Take what Ryujin's doing, for example. Based on your recommendation, they'll be continuing their work on the NeuroAmp technology. Are you implying I should ignore that, based purely on the fact I might not be cut out for business? You mean, other than the fact that it can turn a free-willed human being into a mindless automaton? For you to even ask me that question means you're completely blind to the implications of that horrid device. You're awfully quiet. This silence is getting awkward. When used properly, yes. But imagine that technology in the wrong hands. Imagine the awful things you could force people to do. It's almost too horrible to contemplate. How about making someone forcibly end their own life? Or worse, pick up a weapon and start shooting at innocent people? Taking control of someone's mind and implanting suggestions is a terrifying prospect of this weapon. Well, with any luck, perhaps Ryujin will come to its own senses one day and realize what they're doing is wrong. All we can do for now is pray that I'm right. Hey, can we skip the local chunks this time? Never agrees with my stomach.
So, what's the point?
Of what?
This? Is it some sort of art? Things have been going so...
Everyone's welcome, so long as you keep your hands to yourself. Understand? No shortage of hungry mouths to feed around here. Mom, that's Kay, gets all the credit. Started making sure people felt welcome back when I was just a kid. She had one rule: no causing trouble. Everyone abided by it, put their differences aside when they came through the door. After a few years of feeding so many mouths, we needed extra credits to stay afloat. Didn't mean for this to turn into a business, but here we are. If folks are willing to pay a little to have someplace to feel safe and get a decent meal, well then, we'll sure take it. Absolutely. I'm sure my mom would be proud to have the place featured in an article. What's up? Yeah, sure thing. I'm Teresa Mason, and this is my home. My mom's the Kay who founded Kay's house. I grew up here along with the business. My mom passed the place on to me when she decided to retire. Running it is my pride and joy. I've put everything I have into it. Same as ever. I've lived in the well my whole life, and things have never really changed. The UC government promises to clean the place up every couple years, but there's still just as much crime and poverty as there was when I was a kid. That's why Kay's house is so important. It's the one place people in the well feel safe. Be sure to put that in the article, okay? I'm really proud of it. Business is steady, as usual. We don't tolerate violence or disrespect, so a lot of folks like to spend time here. The only thing that's worrying me is a new group of customers I've seen hanging around lately. They've been watching the UC surplus store pretty closely. I have a bad feeling they might be planning something. Kay's house has a reputation as a safe place. I don't want to be associated with that kind of thing. Honestly, I'd really appreciate that. I'd feel terrible if something happened and I hadn't done anything to try to stop it. Why don't you come by when you have some spare time, and we'll talk it out. Great. Let me know when the article comes out, will you? I'd like to read it.
Always nice to see a fresh face around here. You stop in whenever you'd like.
If you haven't, make sure you say hello to Mama. She likes checking in with everyone.
Do you know why this place has stood for so long? I make sure everyone's comfy. I tell it like it is, and I don't take any shit.
Don't take it personal if I don't stop to chat. Lots to do, not nearly enough hands to do it all.
Stay as long as you like, and don't be a stranger.
Everyone's welcome, so long as you keep your hands to yourself. Understand? No causing trouble in here.
Folks gotta look out for one another. That's why I started serving food all those years ago.
No shortage of hungry mouths to feed around here. Keeps us on our toes. Nothing else?
Always nice to see a fresh face around here. You stop in whenever you'd like.
If you haven't, make sure you say hello to Mama.
She likes checking in with everyone.
Do you know why this place has stood for so long? I make sure everyone's comfy. I tell it like it is.
No lawyer. Can't say I'll have what you need. But you're welcome. Yep, you got it. A reporter. Fine, but I'm only talking basics. I don't like people snooping around my business. How the hell do you think? Life's a mess down here. I'm not holding my breath for it to get any better. Name's Henrik. I own Apex Electronics. That's all I'm willing to say to some nosy reporter. Door's still open, isn't it? That's my idea of success. Sorry if you were hoping for something more flowery. Door's still open, isn't it? Sorry if you were hoping... Great! Now why don't you help me out and buy something? I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Stock's a bit low, so you might find yourself disappointed.
I'm about to speak to you. I'm listening. I have an important personal decision to make. Phew, thank you. So, where to start? Before I was with the Navigator Corps, I was career military, part of the United Colonies Navy. When the Colony War broke out, I was posted as the chief navigator on a warship, the Dauntless. In my case, I was third in command, which has a lot to do with the story. There was a particularly bloody battle. We were fighting over a world in the Eta Cassiopeia system. Worst fighting I'd ever seen. We lost 12 ships that day. 12. Including my own. Economic reasons. Several of the worlds in the Cassiopeia system were mineral rich. Both sides wanted to drop refinery outposts on the surface to bolster their supply. No. This is important. I need to tell you this. The ship was barely intact. The captain and first mate died the previous day, which put me in command. A shrewd captain would have called for the crew to abandon ship. But I was so angry. I wanted to stay. I needed to fight. The Dauntless was a tough little ship. No shields and the hull was breached, but it still had power. And weapons. That's why I remained in the battle. Huge mistake. I believe you. But you haven't heard the worst of this. We fought for hours, but the damage was fatal. I gave the order to abandon ship and the crew piled into the escape shuttle. As the shuttle launched, I could see it was damaged. I heard screams before the radio cut. And last thing I saw, they were spiraling helplessly towards the planet's surface. There was nothing I could do. It was my duty as acting captain to be the last person to leave the Dauntless. We had more than one escape shuttle available. So, I elected to wait until they were safe. The ship barely had enough power for comms and life support. All I could do was watch them die. You're sorry. For me? If I hadn't been so stubborn, so eager to prove that I could handle command, my crew would have had more time to escape. My superiors. When the dust settled, the United Colonies gave me a medal. Can you believe that? A damn medal. I never even had a chance to find the shuttle wreckage and give my crew a proper burial. After I checked every section of the ship for wounded crew, I took the other escape shuttle. If I hadn't, I would have died. The Dauntless came apart minutes after I escaped. Bad luck. That sounds familiar. Remember when you said no one but me would have pushed harder to keep the Navigator core going? Well, this time, pushing too hard cost lives. Don't you get it? Everything I do, everything I touch, somehow falls apart. That's why I'm worried about us. Look, it's clear the two of us are becoming more than partners. We're becoming close friends. Even though I've pushed people away in the past, I feel different when I'm around you. I feel safer, comfortable, not afraid to admit who I am. I'm terrified I'm going to screw that up. After everything you've heard, all my stories, you still have faith. No one's ever cared about me this much. Not even Aja. You in deep thought or something? You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about us, about our relationship, how we've clearly become close. I practiced what I was going to say when the moment was right, and now that it's here, my mind's gone blank. Look, you deserve the best. Someone who can give themselves to you entirely. But right now, I have too much baggage. Too much on my mind. I hope you'll forgive me for pushing you away. I just need time.
If you're a serious customer, feel free to look around.
We're doing the best we can here. That's all we can ever do. Well, that's what I'm here for. Let's see what we're dealing with. You're a sight, aren't you? Don't worry, I'm good with stitches. All fixed up. A journalist? That's a surprise. Most people don't think anything that goes on in the well is worth writing about. I'd be happy to help if I can. Things are always the same in the well. Violent and dangerous. I swear I treat more injuries here than I did when I was a Navy medic. Things are always rough at the med bay. I'm the closest thing to a doctor that the well has, and I can't treat everyone. The last few weeks have been especially bad. There's some kind of infection going around, and a lot of kids down here are catching it. It just breaks my heart to see. Oh, you're sweet to offer. There might be something you can do, if you're willing. Sure, if you'd like. My name's Talia. I was born and raised right here in the well. I've been the nurse here at the med bay for over a decade now. Once upon a time, I was a combat medic for the UC Navy. When the colony war ended, I came back to the well to put my skills to use for the people here. All right, dear. You let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. Three gunshots this week alone. I guess we know where UC Security's priorities are.
chefs?
If you have a new story, my source is back. Here to report anything else? Hey, that's great. Thanks so much. Did everything go all right? It's that bad? I'm glad I'm writing this story then. Maybe the government will finally make good on their promise of cleaning things up down there. I can't thank you enough for helping me out. I'll send you a copy of the story if it gets published. There's nothing like seeing your name in print. Next time, then.
We have these jetpacks for a reason, you know.
Got a slogan for our new ship class.
If you need patching up, we'll see what we... I've got limited resources, but I try not to turn anyone away just because they're light on credits. Funny story about that. You know, when people first arrived on Jemison, they dismantled the colony ship and used the parts to establish a place to live. Over time, they built out, and up, and up, and after long enough, they started to forget about the people and the things still down here. The walls and the ceiling have changed, but this place still uses equipment from that old ship. And it's here because not everyone in New Atlantis can afford Reliant Medical. Oh, you remembered. I'm touched, dear, really. Yes, there's absolutely something you can do to help. All the children seem to have the same stomach bug, but I'm having trouble diagnosing it. Pediatrics isn't my specialty. But one of my colleagues, Dr. Lebedev, is an expert. If I had his research notes, I'm sure I could diagnose the disease and find a treatment. I've seen an uptick in cases of sick children in the medbay recently. They all seem to be presenting the same symptoms, but I can't identify the cause. It isn't serious enough to kill them, but I haven't found an effective treatment yet. That has me worried. He works topside at Reliant Medical. It's easy to find. It's right between Mast and Orion Tower. Dr. Lebedev is always there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'd go myself, but I can't leave the medbay unattended.
I'm not feeling that bad.
We have an appointment. You're seeing the doctor. That's it. I talked to your boss.
Welcome to Reliant. If you're in need of medical assistance, well, you've certainly come to... A medical problem Talia can't solve. I never thought I'd see the day. How can I help?
We've been professional acquaintances for a long time. She's an excellent nurse. If the well didn't need her so badly, I'd have offered her a job here ages ago. Sick children. Well, we can't have that. I'd be happy to help. Let's see. A stomach bug. I've treated plenty of those. I keep extensive notes. I'm sure I have something that can help. Ah, yes, here we go. This should do the trick. I've uploaded some of my notes on common stomach issues in pediatric patients to this slate. Please, pass it on to Talia. She can keep it. And give her my best, will you? I hope everything works out for those kids.
We almost had their intervention.
I wonder if I'll miss New Atlantis when Tony and I leave. No, probably